How many of you watching this right now enjoy creating characters for an RPG campaign nearly as much as you like playing the actual game? Okay, go ahead, raise your hand. Oh yeah, I can't see you. Should have thought this through. In any case, I know you're out there. There is something really satisfying about trying to craft the perfect character sheet, tweaking the stats, and building an identity. Much like that, sometimes it's the simple things in board games that bring us excitement. Kind of like, I don't know, a giant bag of dice. Roll Player is a dice placement action-taking set collection game for 1 to 4 players designed by Keith Matejka. Roll dice and place them to fill out a character sheet simulating making a role-playing character in classic RPG archetypes such as the Bard, Wizards, Barbarian, Clerics. Grab a character sheet and get dealt a class card. They're double-sided with 2 different classes. Make your choice and seal your fate. The class card will lock in your class title, a special ability, and most importantly, your attribute goals. It's a list of all your stats and the target value where you want them. Some of them are going to be exact numbers, some of them are going to be equal or greater than, and some of them will be a range of numbers you want to hit to earn reputation points. But that's how you win the game. You want the most points. They also follow the logic of the class you're creating. So barbarians have a lot of strength and no intelligence, bards have a lot of charisma, that sort of thing. Then you'll get your tragic backstory. It has some flavor text that fleshes out your character. It also had pictures of the attribute grid. You'll be placing dice with specific colors in specific spots. There are several different colored dice in the game. They all correspond to the different classes. So as you're placing the dice and trying to hit these target scores, you'll also want to try to get specific colors. So basically it shows the grid, and it'll have a couple blocks where it will show in what spot you need to get specific color dice. As you're placing them, you have to think about the attribute scores that you're trying to get to. You also want to try to get the specific colors because the more you match on your backstory card, the more points that you'll get. This is especially tricky because every time you place a dice, you have to put it in the leftmost spot. Guess what else? Alignment cards. You start at true neutral, and you can move your marker around with various game effects, and hopefully at the end you'll have the maximum point value shown on the attribute card. Some of them have negatives, some of them have like minor goals, so if you get kind of nudge yourself kind of toward the alignment you're going after. As you're placing die, depending on what attribute row you place it in, you'll get an optional attribute action. Plop it in the strength row, and you'll get to flip a dice facing to its opposite side. So like a 1 will become a 6. Dump it in dexterity and you'll get to exchange the placement of 2 dice anywhere on your sheet. Constitution, you'll get to increase or decrease a die's value by 1. Jamming a die in your intelligence slot, you get to choose any die on the sheet and re-roll it. Adding some wisdom, that lets you move your alignment marker 1 spot in any direction as long as it's not diagonal. Finally, bolstering your charisma gives you a charisma token that you have to use that round that you can spend in place of 1 gold when you're buying cards from the marketplace. Because of course your character needs weapons and special skills, armor maybe, I don't know. All of them will cost you some gold, and some of them actually require you to move your alignment token as a cost to buy them. But armor works like set collection. The more pieces in the set that you get, the more points you get at the end of the game. Now, the order in which you buy cards from the marketplace is actually determined by initiative cards that are also the way that you get your die at the beginning of a round. The current active player in the beginning of the round will roll as many dice as there are cards and place them in numerical order. Then players take turns choosing the card, that's the die they get for the round. So you're thinking to yourself, do I take the card that gives me the best number die for an attribute that I need, and maybe there's a color I'm specifically going after at this point? Or is there something in the marketplace that I really want to get? So you always have to weigh those options. The game ends once everyone has placed a die in every single one of their spots. Basically, you fill your sheet. And then you flip over, you have a little reference card that tells you all the rounds. You flip that over, and now it's your score marker. Pretty clever, Keith. Tally up all your points based on your attribute scores, how many things you got right in your backstory. You look at your alignment card, and then any points you get from marketplace cards. And some of them actually just give you points, which is nice. There are a few more rules than that, but I mean, also, honestly, most of them all make logical sense. The theme and the mechanics work perfectly together. One was informed by the other. I feel like the designer probably was thinking to themselves, you know what, I would like to make a game just based on creating characters, and then came up with the mechanics based on that. That's my guess. The game is all about making decisions round by round, and actually one of the things I find the most challenging is after you fill an entire row of a certain attribute, you can't take that action anymore. I'm guessing that's by design, because if you could just manipulate dice the same way every round, like if you just could pick the action, there wouldn't be much of a game there. So you got to plan what you fill. If you're thinking to yourself, okay, I'm going to put this here and hopefully later, once I fill in this strength row, I'm going to take that strength action and flip that over. Always keep that in mind. You got to be thinking about that the entire game. This really is a great medium weight game with a decent amount of planning and luck mitigation. All of the elements come together really well in a satisfying package, and it's all very cohesive. The one thing that can kind of be a bear to overcome though is if you get some cards during your setup that don't quite match up and kind of make the character harder to accomplish, especially when you have that race that has like a -2 in attribute row that you really need for a specific class. But really part of the game is kind of bending and shaping the game to accomplish your goals, but just I have seen sometimes the combination of race, class, and alignment kind of make that seem more difficult than it should be. But I mean, really, how many lawful good orc wizards do you see ever? So maybe it should be harder. In real life, when you're walking down the street, how many lawful good orc wizards do you see? Pushes up glasses for effect. Honestly, this is a really solid game. And you have to roll a bunch of dice, so who cares? I mean, look at this. There's so many dice in here. You can hear how many dice are in here, man. You had your mother for me. Get it on your shelf. It's shelf worthy. Buy it. Find someone else has it. Someone backed it that you know. I guarantee it. Go play it. You're going to love it. Role player. Hey, thanks for watching my show. I really appreciate it. I like making this show. I like people watch my show. I like when people tell me they watch their show. I like it even more when I see people share my show. When I go, wow, that guy's awesome. He shared my show that I posted. He shared it on someone else's page. Oh my god, he shared it on a board game group? That's amazing. Thank you. I try to make a good show. I really care about board game making. I care about the community. I want to add to it. So please like, share, subscribe, critique. Send me a message. Send me a private message and tell me what you liked, what you didn't like. That'd be fantastic. Any kind of feedback would be great.